What's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL Bike, and I have some breaking news for you today because Triumph just refreshed their entire Bonneville lineup. There's 6 refreshed bikes and an all-new limited edition in there as well. So we're gonna go through all the changes and all the details on these new bikes. Let's get right into it. So the Bonneville lineup of bikes from Triumph is the classic British motorcycle. It doesn't get any more classic British than the Bonneville. The first T120 Bonneville launched in 1959, and the new ones look very similar to the 1959 model. This is a mild refresh, which I think is a really good thing. If you do too much to a classic bike, it's not classic anymore. So I'm glad to see that they're sticking to the roots and keeping the tradition of the Bonneville alive. Now, it's no secret that over the past year, many motorcycle manufacturers have been updating their engines in order to keep selling in Europe because they have to meet Euro 5 emissions regulations, and that's no different here. But a lot of times when motorcycle manufacturers need to update their engines for emissions reasons, they do so by adding weight or additional emissions equipment. Triumph said they definitely didn't want to do that. So as you'll see when I go through this list of bikes, all these bikes have been lightened up. There's weight savings and they've added more power to a lot of them. So yes, they're trying to make it so that they meet Euro 5 and pass the emissions standard, but they're also making sure that the bikes remain performance machines and that they're not sacrificing anything by following the new emissions standards. So let's start with the T120 because that's kind of the heart of the whole lineup. That's the classic Bonneville. Just like previous years, 1200cc Bonneville twin, you get that classic Triumph twin sound. All right, as I was editing this video, I got a note from Triumph that these are actually all 2022 model year bikes. So anywhere where I say 2021, it's actually a 2022 model year. I'm not totally wrong though. All these bikes will be available in 2021, and I'll get to the availability later in this video. Let's get into what's new for 2021 though. So like I said, meets Euro 5, that's pretty obvious, but the engine performance has been enhanced. So 79 horsepower and 77 foot-pounds of torque. There's also a reduction in mass and inertia. This bike is 15.5 pounds lighter than last year's model, and the weight saving comes from the crankshaft, engine covers, clutch, and balancer shafts, also new aluminum rims. And Triumph says that this new bike will pick up quicker and feel sharper. Now, it also uses new twin Brembo front brakes to give you a little more stopping power. Cruise control is now standard, and they've changed up the rider modes just a little bit. So the rider modes now adjust power delivery and the traction control setting at the same time. You also get a really nice looking instrument dial face that's been kind of refreshed for 2021. And then one of the cool changes actually comes on the logo down on the side of the tank. It uses their new 3-bar heritage inspired tank badge. And for the T120, you're looking at $12,050 MSRP. As you can tell, this is pretty classic British motorcycle, but there's another flavor of the T120 in case you don't want to go so classic. There's actually the T120 Black, which gets you all the same things as the T120, but they've changed up some things and blacked out a lot of parts. So you get blacked out rims, blacked out grab rail, engine covers, mirrors, headlamp bezel, indicators, exhaust, and a brown bench seat with an embossed Triumph logo. It's a pretty good looking package. All right, let's jump over to the T100 now, which is more of the entry-level model. And Triumph says that for 2021, the T100 is even lighter and even easier to ride than before. So it's a really confidence-inspiring bike and great for beginners. And if you're in Europe, this bike can also be fitted with an A2 license kit. So what's new for the T100 for 2021? Just like everything else, the motor has been evolved for Euro 5. The bike is 9 pounds lighter than the outgoing model, and it also makes more power than the outgoing model. 64 horsepower out of this T100. That's up 10 horsepower from last year. 59 foot-pounds of torque at 3,750 RPM. And Triumph says that the T100 is more responsive because of the inertia reduction, the weight reduction, and also a 500 RPM higher redline. So you can rev this bike out a little bit higher than last year. In addition, you're going to get a new Brembo front caliper, new cartridge front forks, and enhanced looks. They've now blacked out the engine and given it a new instrument dial face as well. And if you're looking at the T100, it's going to run you $10,500. All right, let's move on to the Street Twin, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to be excited about this because the Street Twin is the best-selling model in the Bonneville family. They've actually sold over 30,000 units since 2015. Not too bad. The Street Twin has that classic British look, but it's a little more stripped down than the T120, so a little bit of a more minimal design. It uses the same 900cc Bonneville twin that we saw in the T100. And what's new for 2021? Well, again, Euro 5, you get new cast wheels on this 2021 model, a new seat, which Triumph says is more comfortable than the outgoing model, new bodywork, a new metal foil tank badge, which looks pretty cool on the side there. It's actually looks like it's got some 3D texture to it, not just sort of like a decal that's painted over. You also get new throttle body finishers and brushed aluminum headlight brackets to finish off the look. $9,400 MSRP for the Street Twin, and I'm really curious to see where this bike goes in the future. I know it's been extremely popular over the past couple years, but there's the new Triumph Trident, which was just released a couple months ago. Videos here on TFL Bike if you want all the details on that. But it'll be interesting to see whether those customers are going to be springing for the Street Twin or if they want to go to the Trident 660. Now, at the beginning of the video, I told you about a limited edition that Triumph was making in the Bonneville family, and let's get to that right now because it is a limited edition Street Twin, and they're calling it the Street Twin Gold Line. What that gets you is a hand-painted gold and black paint scheme, which comes from Triumph's Expert Paint Shop. Also uses their really cool heritage logo on the side there, brushed knee pads, you get a graphite center stripe going down the tank, and a hand-painted gold line. Triumph says that there's only 6 people worldwide that they let hand paint on the Triumph tanks, so super limited. You also get a custom signature on the tank by the person who did your gold striping. There's only going to be 1,000 units made worldwide, comes with the certificate of authenticity, and yeah, pricing's not available yet, but this is a really cool looking limited edition. Very limited though, so if you want one, you're going to have to pick it up quick. All right, let's move on to the Speedmaster, which is the cruiser in the Bonneville lineup. You get those swept back bars and the forward pegs, 1200cc twin with the bobber tune on it. Let's get into what's new for 2021. So Euro 5, of course, Triumph says a more responsive throttle and a better handling setup as well. They also put on new, bigger 47mm front forks. There's a new comfort rider seat with lumbar support. That's pretty cool. The pillion seat is also comfier than before, and there's a new instrument setup up front as well. If you're looking at the Speedmaster, it's going to cost you $13,150. All right, and finally, let's move on to the Bobber, arguably one of the coolest looking bikes in Triumph's entire lineup. You get that small headlight, the classic tank, hardtail look with the floating aluminum seat and the side-mounted ignition and battery box that the Bobber is known for. But what's new for 2021? You guessed it, Euro 5, but also a blacked out look. So in previous years, they offered the Bobber and the Bobber Black. Triumph has realized that the Bobber Black is by far the more popular one, so they decided to just go with one model for 2021, and all of them are blacked out. So you get that Bobber Black look in what is now the base model Bobber. According to Triumph, reduced inertia, so that makes the bike more responsive and picks up quicker. We're kind of seeing a theme with that in these new bikes. New larger fuel tank. That tank's gonna hold 3.2 gallons of fuel. New Brembo brakes up front, now they're twin discs. You also have new Showa front forks and a 16-inch fat front wheel that has been redesigned since last year. Full LED headlight with daytime running lights up front. The daytime running lights will be coming to the US, but they'll be a little bit dimmer in the US than you guys are going to get over in Europe. You also have a new cruise control switch. It's more intuitive, just one button now to turn it on and off. And new instrument styling as well to go along with the rest of the bikes in this lineup that got a new instrument cluster. If you're looking at the Bobber for 2021, $13,150. So I gave you pricing on all these bikes kind of as I went through them, but as far as availability, most of them at least are right around the corner. So the Street Twin, the Bobber, and the Speedmaster, along with the T100, will all be hitting dealerships in March. Then the T120 and the T120 Black will be hitting dealerships in May, and the Street Twin Gold Line is last to hit dealerships in June. So no matter which bike is your favorite off this list, you're not too far away from being able to scoop one up. The Bonnevilles have always been bikes that are extremely customizable, and people love changing these bikes up and making them their own. Triumph is offering 320 accessories alongside these bikes. They've all been been tested and manufactured alongside the bike, so you know everything's going to work well and have that classic Triumph fit and finish. So it'll be pretty easy to make these bikes your own. Now, Triumph has also teased us with 3 more bikes: the Scrambler 1200 XC and XE, and the Street Scrambler, which I'm really looking forward to. Those are going to be announced in April. So if you want all the details on those bikes, make sure you stay subscribed to this channel, TFL Bike, and also TFLbike.com, so you don't miss any of the news in the motorcycle world. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on these new bikes down in the comments below. Will you be picking one of these up? And do you think Triumph did enough, or do you think they really needed to do more in order to keep selling the Bonneville? Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.